Boom! Not 11 p.m. Central Time. I think we're live, guys. I think we're live. What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Central Time here in southwestern Missouri. I am doing a live here, and then I will get ready to go to bed. And so I'm probably going to wake up and leave here about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll wake up, leave here about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I'll meet Garrett somewhere on the route. I'm trying to pull up my own chat. Here. But welcome in, everybody. Let's get into this briefing here soon. Very soon. Let me get my chat pulled up. But what is up, everybody? Smash that like button for me, please. Can I get in the chat here? Really? Hey, let me open chat. Well, I'll have to get on my Brady Harris computer here. Stormcat 5. Let's see here. But have a little bit of homework to do too tonight. Not worried about that one. I just got a little bit of homework I got to get done. First ever 5-hatched tornado risk. Yes, it is the first ever 5-hatched tornado risk. Guys, let me know if everything looks good. What's up, Derek? We got Storm Tacoma Carol. What's up, everybody? What's up? Doppler gang for 1 month, Carol. Appreciate it. Hopefully everything's good in here. Hopefully we are locked in. And let's go through this briefing. How about that? Let me like my own stream before I do that. And let me know, where are you guys tuned in from? Where are you guys watching from tonight? So today, we had a large 2% tornado risk with a small 5% region. I'm trying to adjust my mic here. 5% region. Nothing happened. I don't think there are any tornadoes. As I told you guys before, I was probably going to venture out and try to chase. Well, I ended up not chasing. I ended up just staying at home, and it seemed like a good decision because I think literally nothing happened. I think there was something half decent down by Dallas, maybe like some flooding, but that's about it. We got foggy North Dakota. We got northeast Nebraska in here, south central Michigan. We got Vegas. Jesse, welcome into the stream. How is it going? We got Minnesota in here. Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome in, everybody. I know Garrett is running his members stream. I was in there hanging out with you guys for a little bit. And then before that, I was in Stormcat 5 stream on Stormfront Freaks for like an hour and a half. So I was in there for a while. So I've already been on like 2 streams tonight. And then I went live earlier today. So here's tomorrow's risk. Once again, the first ever 5% hatch. The first ever 5% hatch. I think it's a slight risk right now. I think you'll see this get upgraded to an enhanced risk. And then Friday, obviously a large enhanced risk. We'll probably see a 10% hatch tornado risk come out, and if not 10% hatch, we'll see a 5% hatch come in there. I'm wearing a hat. I thought I was kind of having a bad hair day today, but maybe the hat fixed my hair just a little bit, but was not having the best. Yeah, I'm still not having the best hair day. So, oh well. But what is up, everybody? Southwest Missouri, Maddox, welcome in. Southwest Missouri, brethren. We got Cedar Rapids in here. But like the stream, share the stream. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Every time I do one of these, we get slightly more viewers than the stream before, so I appreciate it all. And let's get into the breakdown. And we finally have some of our short range models in for Friday. So here's the HRRR. These are the winds about 3.5 miles above the surface, or 500 millibar trough. So go out here. Okay, so here we have we have the trough impinging over the dry line. Here's our dry line tomorrow. We have a differential heating boundary right here. This is where storms are firing, kind of Amarillo southeast towards Tahoka, over towards Childress, Clarendon, that area. That's where your storms are firing. So we have a lot of questions about tomorrow's warm sector more than anything. The shear is in place. Everything's in place, but the questions have to do with the surface heating in the warm sector tomorrow. And here you can see the dew points. You can see our dew points, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5, 6 p.m. riding up here and there. Right there, here's our dry line. Here's our differential heating boundary. Right in this zone where they intersect. That's where we're going to see storms tomorrow. Our low-level jet. We'll zoom in a little bit here in a second, but here's our low-level jet. You can see that low-level jet strengthens right as storms are developing. That low-level jet is strengthening there. And let's go take a peek at Friday here. I know there's still a model. There's a major battle between the models going on right now. Yeah, tomorrow's a perfect reason for a 5 hatch. Depending on, I think that we'll get an enhanced risk tomorrow. I think that we will see an enhanced risk for hail and wind tomorrow. That's what I think will happen. I think we'll have an enhanced risk for hail and wind, and I think they might bring out the 10% tornado threat tomorrow, Jesse, but we shall see. But here's Friday, and the HRRR agrees with the Euro. A flat trough ejection Friday. Now, this doesn't mean that we're out of it for severe weather, but a flatter trough ejection means you're going to have that crashing cold front out of the north, a dry line down here to the south. And then my main region of interest is right here. So kind of Wichita over to Joplin, maybe down to Tulsa, Bartlesville, Ponca City, up towards the southern side of Kansas City. This is my main area of interest right here. That would be my target, where I think something has the best shot at happening. There's another little target down here that we're just going to have to keep an eye on. And if the GFS is right, throw it all out the window. If the GFS is right, there's going to be a massive day in this area, but that seems unlikely. It seems like the GFS will not be right. But it's still holding on to its solution, so you never know. We could see a last-second trend towards the GFS, but let's look more into depth for tomorrow. So here's our surface temperatures. This is something I want to look at here. So you can see here by 9 a.m. by noon. This is at noon. Noon tomorrow. Childress, 60 degrees. Elk City, 53. 67 in Amarillo, but you can see very warm temps right here. Very cold temps right there. So not cold, but chilly, or 50s. That's not good. When you have a severe weather risk right here and your temperatures are sitting in the low 50s at noon, that's not great. By 4 p.m., you can really see the warm-up happening, and you start to get up into the low 60s up here. But you can see there's a very clear boundary. You can see the boundary. It's very clear right here. So stable, cold air, warm, moist air down here. And you can see the boundary, and you can see some storms starting to fire at this point at 4 p.m. Then you have more storms that fire up here, but this boundary is you can see the boundary is slightly moving north. See, here's by 5 p.m., slightly moving north. You can see those temperatures are moving north And then obviously we lose our sun and things start to go down. But even as we lose our sun, your temperatures at least hold steady over here into Oklahoma, which so whatever storms are over here are going to be able to move west and have a big hail and wind threat, especially in northern Oklahoma. I think they're going to drift up this direction right here. But let's look at our reflectivity, potential reflectivity forecast. And then we'll go break down the other cams. The convective allowing models, that's what a cam is, convective allowing models. Here we go. 3 p.m., you have initiation west of the interstate here. Your boundary's draped about right here. And then we move to 4 p.m., you have a supercell southeast of Amarillo hitting the Cap Rock at 4 p.m. 5 p.m., you have these supercells kind of weaken over here southeast of Amarillo, and then you have another supercell developing near Childress. And then you have another one that develops over here on the Oklahoma side. If this model will change. Like, there is time this will change, but let's just say everything in this model is going to happen. Let's just say this is all correct. If this is correct, I would probably rather be over on these storms, but I'm not 100% sure. And then you can see by 7 p.m., these storms die out. These storms get all big and bad over here. That doesn't mean they're going to produce tornadoes. I think these would be north of the boundary. And then you can see another storm gets going right there again. But these storms are going to drift up this direction, and the tornado threat at this point will be lower. And you can see there's Boeing segments in here. It'll be lower, but there will still be a tornado threat all the way through. And then you can see it blasts through northern Oklahoma. And then by 6, 7 a.m., we're pretty clear, and that's going to set the stage for Friday, which Friday's been stressing me out. You can see at the end of Friday, some storms start to fire on that dry line with a very good environment in place by the end of Friday. Or by Friday evening. Friday's been stressing me out, guys. I don't know what to expect Friday. Tomorrow's the best day for a chaser. We'll also have to watch Friday. The HRRR tries to fire some open warm sector supercells right here, East Kansas, Western Missouri. We got to watch that, and then we got to watch the secondary threat along. We got to watch the secondary threat along the dry line late afternoon, early evening down here, and these will move east. But very, very different from our other models. Very, very, very different from our other models. So let's check out some of our other convective allowing models that are coming in here. So for tomorrow, look at that. This model fires 2 supercells right there. Now let's see if this model has that surface heating boundary. It kind of does, but you can see it's different. Look at this model. You could see that boundary in there, but it's a little bit further north. That heating makes it a little further north on this model. Some of these areas that are in the 50s are in the low to mid 60s on this model. So it makes it a little farther north. See the other model, ARW. Makes it a little bit further north as well, but you can see every single model has this little area of lower temperatures right there. This model is just a mess. It just fires a bunch of storms down in northwest Texas, and then it just becomes a mess. I'm curious to see what these show. And once again, these kind of show not much going on Friday. You got some beans over here trying to become supercells, But these storms out to the east of the dry line are going to be struggling because there's not going to be enough surface heating out east of the dry line. So I could talk about the HRRR showing some mini supercells up here. This model showing them down here. These are going to struggle because there's not a ton of ascent and there's not a ton of surface heating. Your surface lapse rates are very bad. These are going to struggle over here. My chat is like not updating. Let's see if I can fix that. But those are over there. Let's see what this model does for Friday. Not a single storm. Not a single storm on Friday. So as I was telling you guys last night, I was telling you guys the enhanced risk is not warranted. I said it multiple times. I even went out on social media and said it, and everybody's all mad. They're like, oh my gosh, these chasers think they know so much better than the SBC. But like, it's not warranted. That doesn't mean that whenever we get to Friday that a enhanced risk won't be warranted. It maybe will, but at least given the model data that we had, it was not warranted. It never was. It never should have been put out because the models were diverging from solutions. But maybe we get, like I said, maybe we get to tomorrow or we get to Friday and they're kind of coming together on a solution and then they can put the enhanced risk out. But it's just not, it just was never it was premature. There's never much to warrant that. We'll look at the doofus model. You know, the doofus model isn't very good, but I guess within 48 hours it starts to get a little bit more usable. It fires up a ton of supercells tomorrow in the East Texas Panhandle. Let's see what it does for Friday. There we go. Eastern Oklahoma fires up some supercells for Friday. Garrett's been telling me Oklahoma's not going to fire, and Garrett, I for the most part agree with you, other than maybe North Oklahoma. But Garrett, I don't know. What do you have to say about this? You love your Rufus. You love your Rufus model. Look at the environment. Okay, yeah, I know what the environment is, but if you have a great environment, but you don't have any storms to use the environment, you don't need an enhanced risk. You can have as good of an environment as you want. You can have an environment that's on par with April 27th, 2011, but if you don't have storms, it doesn't matter. You need storms. That, like I said, that doesn't mean when we get more data in, maybe when we get more data in like 12 to 20 hours, maybe it'll be warranted. I'm just saying when they put it out 2 days ago, it was not. That's all I'm saying. Catman. I think that we'll have severe storms that do fire. I mean, yes, but the models just right now don't support a ton of that. And this model's over zealous usually. So something else to note, keep in mind. Pretty soon our HRRR is going to be all the way out to the event, just the 18-hour. So the HRRR is usually 18 hours out, but every 6 hours it gets a 48-hour run. 66, 65. I'm trying to compare runs here to see what it's. Okay. So my question is tomorrow this. How do clouds look? What do temperatures look like in that circled region tomorrow at noon and throughout the afternoon? That's my question for tomorrow. What time? I think supercells form between 3 and 5 p.m. We'll probably be live, surely 3 or 4 p.m. Yes, Catman, that's correct. The environment is relatively uncapped with lackluster forcing. That's what I've been talking about for a while now, that lackluster forcing. And let's go look at why the forcing's a little bit lackluster. And let's go look at some of the different models. The GFS is actually about to come in here. But let's see here. So here's why the forcing's a little bit lackluster here. I'm going to play this loop. This is a very flat looking trough, very flat. See how the trough is like flat? We want it to kind of curl in. You want the trough to curl in a bit like that. It's kind of flat. And the other thing is this trough, this jet max is kind of moving to the northeast. Your warm sector is down here more. This is your warm sector. So it's almost like the trough is moving away from the warm sector. It's impinging on it a little bit, but you want it to push into the warm sector, not kind of like ride it. You kind of want your trough, it's glancing. I'd call it, like I said, a glancing blow. It's like if you punch someone and you kind of miss them. That's kind of what this trough is trying to punch the warm sector, but it might miss it just a little bit. That's how I would describe it. You're forcing, more of your forcing is up here, further to the north. Your forcing is up here, but the problem is you obviously have that cold front right there, and we can go look at models and see how different they are between the GFS and Euro. But that's kind of what I'm talking about. Let's go look at the GFS. GFS is totally different. Go look at the GFS. Closed low, negatively tilted trough. You have a lot more forcing right in here. A lot more forcing on this. This is more amped up. Go to the Euro. Same as the triple R. Flatter, flat trough. Not as much forcing in this area. So if I had to guess, I mean, the GFS is sticking to its solution, but it's hard to believe the GFS when every single other model. NATO cast came out. NATO cast came out. Nice. Let me see if I can look at that quick. Yeah, but it's just every single other model is not agreeing with the GFS, so it's hard. If the GFS is right, there's probably going to be a tornado outbreak. But the GFS is not the solution that other models are picking up. They're more online with the Euro. So that's my argument there. The NAM, people say the NAM is really good with synoptics. Well, guess what? The NAM agrees with the Euro as well. So, but still, even with the Euro and even with the NAM, there's a window. There's a window right here, southern Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, southeast Kansas. I still think there's a window right here. Even if the trough is flatter, if you can get a storm, I think there's a window in there. Let's look at a sounding. Oh, the NAM is such a bad model. Let's not look at a sounding. Let's look at one from the HRRR, and we'll break it down. So we'll go break some of these soundings down. Okay, so we have kind of two areas that we're watching. So like I said, there's that convection. There's some convection trying to fire right in here. Mid-afternoon, some spinny beans, some mini spinners. And if we take a sounding down in this region, here's your problem. Right here is your problem. East Kansas, East Oklahoma, West Missouri. This is your problem. It's 68 over 65. You don't have enough surface heating. If that surface heating was more into the lower 70s, it'd be a totally different story. So that's something we need to watch. But and you have a warm nose. So here's the red is your temperature. You can see it goes up and then it kind of pushes out and then it goes back. This little warm nose is going to prohibit those little supercells from getting going. This little warm nose right here, that's all that it takes to really prohibit that. As far as our hodograph goes, it looks really good. Look at this. Nicely curved hodograph. Lots of low-level shear. Very good hodograph for tornadoes, 300 SRH. It's very good. Your problem is your warm nose right here and your surface temperature. So that's the kind of stuff that can be over or under modeled. So that's something we're going to have to watch. So this is 4 p.m. You're going to have an environment that really starts to get going back here on the dry line as well. Let's go check that out. just west of Bartlesville. Let's take a sounding. And you can see here, you have a ton of cape, lots of cape out here by the dry line. 3,400 surface-based cape, 67-degree dew point, 73 surface temp. I would want to see the surface temperatures get a little higher. That's also maybe partly why this is not firing, is because your surface temperature is too cold. So we're going to have to watch how much heating we see. Your convective temperature, I don't know if you guys, my face is probably blocking it, but it says your convective temperature 78. We're sitting at 73. That's not going to work. Maybe that's just a one-off sounding. So let's take another one. See if it's any different. It's even worse. So, I thought I was pulling some PDS soundings here. I think this is where, yes, here's the PDS sounding. But here's right in front of these storms. These storms could produce supercells, or these supercells could produce tornadoes very, very quickly. But look at all this cape. Look at all this cape right here. Lots of cape. Nice EML in the mid-levels. That's going to give you photogenic storms. You got your winds backed at the surface, and then they switch 90 degrees aloft. Pretty classic. Nice hodograph. You have a nice loop in the low levels, and then you have some of that veer-back veer. So your winds in the upper levels are veering back just a little bit, and that can remove precipitation from the base, making things more photogenic. But once again, here's the problem. Your surface temperature at 6 p.m. is 68 degrees. That's not going to work well. It's not going to work well. You need your surface temperature to be more like this, like 75. That's what you need it to be. That's not a good sign either. So really good environment, but just a couple things are off with it. And that's what happens with these. That's what happens with these setups early in the spring. Is early on in the spring, you need everything to go right for these setups. If some things go wrong, then the whole setup gets tanked. You need everything to kind of go right. You don't have much room for error. Go look down here on the dry line, closer to Oklahoma City. You know what? You know what? I like this. I don't know if you're going to get a storm down here. You might be too far removed from the forcing, but this environment down by Oklahoma City, much better environment. Really nice looped photograph as well. I like this environment a little bit more down by Oklahoma City. That's something to watch. Much better, but the problem still, your surface temperature 73. That probably still needs to be 75. Your convective temperature's 77. You guys, I think my head is blocking that, but your convective temperature 77. So we want those temperatures to get a little bit higher. But the HRRR, it can be wrong. It can be wrong. So we're gonna have to monitor this and see how it goes. But that is very intriguing down there. I know there's another target down in Texas. Yeah, not much going on down there in Texas. You definitely have the shear profiles for some supercells and a tornado if you get storms of fire. But here's your problem: you have this little warm nose right here that's probably prohibiting things from going off down there as well. So you got issues. Let's take a sounding by my house later on. Crazy wind shear. But there it is. There's that warm nose. That warm nose is there. So here's the question mark. How pronounced is that warm nose? How does that trough develop? Does that trough look more like the GFS? Does it look more like the Euro right now? Probably Team Euro is going to be right. But that's the question we have to ask ourselves. And obviously up here, your cold front is crashing. Cold front is crashing up here. Here's your surface chart. Crashing cold front right here. Dry line right here. Warm sector right here. And my area of interest is, once again, right here. But the HRRR has a pretty good look for right here as well. So we have to watch. We have to watch both of those spots. But if the GFS had it its way, it looks totally different on the GFS. This is what the GFS looks like. That cold front on the GFS is all the way up here. Cold front's all the way back here on the GFS. Your dry line is all the way up into Nebraska. So you'd be getting a big tornado threat up here by Omaha if this was right, and down here into southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma as well. So it's a big question mark. Windbag, Maddox, yeah, probably, but we need to watch it. We need to watch it. The new GFS is coming in right now. I don't know if I'm going to be live long enough to look at it, but it is coming in right now. I think I've covered most of what I want to cover. But we can, any questions in the chat, please ask me questions. And it can be about the setup. It can be about like meteorology stuff. It can be about anything, honestly. Ask me some questions in the chat. We got Adam in there. What time do you expect the first possible tornadoes for tomorrow? I would say as early as about 4 to 5 p.m. it's possible. I think the sweet spot's 5 to 7 p.m., maybe 5 to 6, but I think as early as 4:30 to 5 is certainly possible. 4 o'clock would be the earliest that I would expect something to happen. Do you see this going moderate? If the GFS is right, I could see it happening. But even if the GFS is right, I would worry about the storm coverage for a moderate risk. But if the GFS is right, yeah, probably. It could probably go moderate. Otherwise, no, it'll stay enhanced. Otherwise. So the GFS has never had a mixing issue, Catman, at least since I've been forecasting severe weather. It's never had a issue with mixing. Beautiful tomorrow. If this happens tomorrow, this has strong tornadoes written all over it. Nice curved photograph. 25 mile an hour storm motion's not bad. Good amount of cape in here. Really good turning. Southeasterlies turning to southwesterlies. Beautiful right there. No, the GFS has never had an over-mixing issue. I've been using the GFS for about 5-6 years. It's never had that problem. Maybe it used to way before then. I don't know. The HRRR has a mixing issue. Now, it seems like the HRRR is not having problems with tomorrow or Friday. So the HRRR usually has a mixing issue. It's not having any issues tomorrow or Friday. Catman or Tucker, anything for Central Kansas? Yeah, here's the thing with Central Kansas is the thing with Central Kansas is your cold front is pushing through. Your cold front is pushing through, and that's shunting everything south. So like I said, if the GFS is right, Central Kansas could be getting some stuff. But I would say for Central Kansas, just expect a line of thunderstorms, probably severe wind and hail. You can't rule out a tornado, but I don't think it's very likely. I refer to Central Kansas as this area. So I think your best shot for tornadoes is maybe South Central Kansas into probably like Eastern Kansas. That's your best shot on Friday. But there's a lot, but Friday's super uncertain. We don't know. Like there's a lot we don't know. I mean, tomorrow at this time, I'm going to know a lot more about Friday. Thoughts on temps being underdone? I don't know if they're being underdone. I wouldn't say they're being underdone. It's possible they're being slightly underdone, but I think it's just March. It's March. We don't have as much sunlight. Like the temps are going to be a little lower, but we'll have to see. With the dry. No, I don't think the dry line placement's going to matter much for temperatures. I think that whether the dry line's farther east or west, I think that the temperatures will be relatively the same. Is it possible the cold front doesn't crash? Yes, it is. There's one model that shows the cold front not crashing, and that's the GFS. Here's the GFS. The GFS has the cold front all the way up. Oh, what did I just do? GFS has the cold front all the way up here. It doesn't crash. Other models have it down here. So it is possible. Yes, it is possible. But even though even with the cold front crashing, even by 6 p.m., it's still southern Kansas, all of Oklahoma is still wide open. So even with that crashing, the crashing front is more north part of Kansas into Nebraska, Iowa. That's where that's going to affect more. But you'll have storms. You'll probably have severe storms still up here on the cold front, northeast Kansas, Iowa, northern Missouri. Ooh, we got a lot of comments in here. Let me try to get to all these. Yeah, it gets spicy with the SIG-Tor risk. It does. I have 74. Gosh, Maddox, I would want nothing more than to chase some backyard tornadoes on Friday. Away from population. Let's hit the open fields or the forests, but I would love nothing more. Thoughts on Illinois? Yeah, Robert, anywhere specifically in Illinois, but I can give you some thoughts on Illinois. Let's see here. I'll use this model since it goes out far enough, but really kind of just looks like a weak line of storms across a lot of Illinois. Peoria area. Let's see, isn't Peoria just to the Peoria is like up here, somewhere northeast of St. Louis, right? So yeah, central. It kind of just looks like a weak line of storms. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a random tornado warning, but I really think that the tornado threat is relatively low in Illinois. I would say it's very low. Can't rule one out, but very, very low. Probably just gusty winds, very small hail would be my expectation. Is G still alive? I don't want to. I know some of y'all. Is G still alive? That guy. I'll tell you one thing about Garrett. I'll tell you one thing about Garrett. This guy runs his members only streams for so long. I'm like, dude, you don't have to do your stream for 2 or 3 hours, but he does it. He does it. So he's if it was up to me, I would run the member stream for like an hour, but I might do it more frequently. He hasn't run a member stream in like 3 weeks. He probably hasn't done a member stream in like a month. So he probably actually needs to do one for 3 hours. But you guys don't know. I'll be live on Stormrunner Media tomorrow. Over Stormrunner Media, go sub. I'll be live over there tomorrow. But guys, I want to talk more about this, but I want to see the GFS come in, but it might not be coming in time. We'll wait it out 10 minutes for this GFS run to come in, but then after that, I'm going to end this thing by 9:45, 9:50 Central Time. I got to go to bed. I got to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, get out the door. I still have to pack. I'm only going to be gone for probably 2 or 3 days, so I don't have to pack much. But I still got to pack some stuff up, get some stuff ready. And I got to wake up 6 a.m. tomorrow so I can meet Garrett early in the morning. And But I'll still take a few more questions. I'm going to wait for this GFS run to come in. I want to see if the GFS, I keep thinking that the GFS is going to shift to the other models, and it will not budge. It is not budging. So it's not budging. So we'll see. Is there anything? I feel like I'm missing. I feel like I was going to look at something else that I have not looked at yet. While we're waiting, you know what? We can still look at We can look at tomorrow even more. And you still got all these cold temps up here in Canada. Would not want to be up there. Look at that. We can still look at tomorrow. We're going to look at the EHI, which is a combination of shear and instability. Tuesday, I'm not going to look at Tuesday just because it's just too far away. It's just too, the models are all over the place Tuesday. Maybe I'll glance at it. Tuesday is so far out. I'm focused on some of these other days, but we can glance. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be severe weather right in here probably. Looking at this trough. That's what we've been talking about for so long is this cutoff. We didn't even have time to talk about this, but this cutoff trough that's sitting back here and then it's ejecting east. The GFS didn't seem to like Tuesday that much. I wonder if the Euro likes it a little bit more. I'm not overly... There's some others. I like Tuesday. I like some of these soundings I'm pulling up here in the Ohio River Valley more on Tuesday. So I wonder if we'll get storms up here on Tuesday. But seems like Tuesday is going to be an active day. Lots of storms around. So we will break Tuesday down. This weekend, we will dive into Tuesday if it ends up being anything of note, which I'm unsure of. It's too far out to know. All right, we're just waiting for our GFS run to come in. Like I said, I keep thinking it's going to change, and it just won't change. It's just holding the line. It's not budging. It will not budge. That little stress toy. Look at this guy. Look at this little axolotl right here. Kind of cool. Donnie, no, it's March. It is severe weather season. It's not crazy to talk about big severe weather days. They're less frequent in March, but last year the two of the 3 or 4 biggest outbreaks came in March, back-to-back days. So it's certainly possible. Hey, Blackout, I'm doing really good. There is a day 7 slight risk. We can go look at that actually. How about these new graphics? For the Storm Prediction Center? Shout out to them. Day 7 slight risk. There it is. I am smack dab my house. Smack dab in the middle of that day 7 slight risk. So I won't be going anywhere. But I really liked some of the soundings I was seeing over here. But the confidence is a little bit higher back there. Look at these EHIs tomorrow. So this is 4 p.m. You can see 3 p.m. kind of low. 2, 4 p.m. they really start to jump. 5 p.m. you got some reds in there. 6 p.m. pinks are showing up now. Pinks and purples. Tulsa. Well, we're gonna have to watch Tulsa on Friday. I'm not too confident, and Tuesday as well, but not too confident. Not too confident. No red. The odds of a red Sharpie are low. If the GFS is right, it's possible, but the odds of the red Sharpie are low. The environment supports a red Sharpie, but there's not enough storms for a red Sharpie. Not enough storms for the red Sharpie, which if you don't know, the red Sharpie is a moderate risk, level 4 out of 5. Right now we're at a level 3 out of 5. Tomorrow's a level 2 out of 5. But I would say actually this. I'll go back to tomorrow. I will say tomorrow, right here, Thursday, I think that we will see an enhanced risk come out right here. I think we'll see an enhanced risk come out right in that area. I think we'll see the level 3 out of 5. We'll see that purple. Garrett has ended his stream. So if any of you guys are coming in from Garrett's stream, welcome in. I popped into Garrett's stream a little bit earlier. I was in Brady Harris's Stormcat 5, his stream as well. But yeah, welcome in everybody. Pink Sharpie. No, not the pink. Not the pink. Dude, I will bet my life. I shouldn't bet your life, but I would bet everything I had. No pink Sharpie is going to happen on Friday. Not even close. I would be very confident to say no red Sharpie, but you can't totally rule it out. All right, the GFS is coming in here. Oh, it's coming in. It's coming in. Oh, it looks amped up. The GFS is coming in, and it looks. And look at this. Look at this Jet Max. This is amped up. This is amped up. The GFS will have to go out a few more hours, but the GFS looks like it is not backing down. The GFS said it's never going to give up. It's never going to back down. What's that? Oh, who said it? It was some saying it's like I don't know. Never back down, never give up. That's what the GFS is doing. It's holding the line here. Is what it looks like at least. Yeah, look at how amped up this sucker is. Compare that to the Triple R. So this is just a comparison right here. Triple R, not bad. You have a very nice jet streak right here. And even up here, you have a very nice jet stream. But it's not as amped up. You have a little bit of defluence, but not a ton. We go to the GFS. Look at the GFS. It's like you look at how much bigger your Jet Max is. It's all amped up. You got a lot of defluence right here. You got northeasterlies out there. It's just excited. It is excited. Okay. It's caving. The GFS, breaking news, it is caving. It still is the most amped up model, but it is caving. There's 3 months until hurricane season starts. You are correct. Didn't get to chase a hurricane last year. Looking forward to it this year. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. ST. I don't know how to read that, but happy birthday. Yeah, never back down, never what? Yeah, never give up. There you go. Never gonna run around and desert you. You're right. So the GFS is still the most amped up model, but it is caving. It is caving. It no longer has that closed off upper level low that it had. It is starting to cave. You still have a lot of defluence, but it is caving. Breaking news, the GFS caved. Finally it caved, but still really strong jet streak here on the GFS. So now I'm curious, now that the GFS looks a little different, I'm curious to see if that cold front is crashing. So it is different. That cold front is crashing a little bit more. That cold front is crashing a little bit more. On the last run, it was like up here. But it's still not, the other models are still down here. So the GFS is still, the GFS still has that dry line all the way into eastern Kansas. So this would still probably be a large tornado outbreak on the GFS, I would assume. Pretty big deal here on the GFS. Really, the environment actually uptrended on the GFS, so that is nuts. That is just nuts, guys. That is nuts. That is nuts. That is nuts for a global model to be showing that. But let's see if the question is, does the GFS fire storms? But here's the thing, though. Look at the GFS. The GFS doesn't fire any storms. No storms. No storms. Even the GFS with its amped up solution doesn't want to fire storms. So I don't know, guys. You do have some storms out here, though. Have to watch. But okay. On that note, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to get to bed. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in here. I have to get to bed. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow night. Maybe I have a laptop here. I might be able to run a live stream on this laptop. I will try it when I'm on the road, but no guarantees. But I'll be back. I'll probably be back here Saturday. So hey, if there's no live streams the next couple days, we will be live streaming the tornado threats over with Storm Runner Media. But I might be live here again Saturday, maybe Friday morning. I can slip in a live stream or something on the road. But on that note, guys, good night, everybody. Appreciate you guys tuning in to Garrett's and I's Storm Runner Media member stream, and then here, and then I was over in Stormcat 5 stream earlier. So if you saw me over there with Capucci and Kopic and all of them, appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight, and follow me on like X, Ben Williams WX, Twitter, Instagram. Follow me. Follow Storm Runner Media as well. If you want to get updates, I'll be posting on Storm Runner Media account as well as my own account. So appreciate all of you guys. Good night and take care, everybody.